welcome to Too Bookish. This is my channel for all things books as well as just other stuff in my life. 15 books. Oh god. I'm really happy with what I got. So here's a little look at how it was in the store yesterday when I was buying those babies. Here we go.
What the dog doing?
This definitely reminds me of Daisy Jones and the Six.
What the dog doing?
Absolute freaking score. Yes. I'm reading this right now. Is that a little stuck so far?
What the dog doing? What the dog doing? What the dog doing?
Love missing Neil deGrasse Tyson.
What the dog doing?
Overall, a very successful day. Had some really nice books.
What the dog doing?
I went shopping for books even though I don't need any more. I went like chill the first day I went with these three, and then I bought a ton more the next day. However, I did not buy any of these new. I thrifted all of them. So we're gonna start with these three because I got them on Sunday. Okay. So we're going to start with Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I wanted to get this one because I have Little Fires Everywhere. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard really great things about it. It seems like it's going to be kind of a family story, like the toll that it takes on this family when the favorite daughter of the family, Lydia, is found dead in the local lake. I'm interested in it. I want to see what goes on. I want to see how Celeste Ng writes this in a kind of suspenseful way, but also looks into the family's history. I already started it. I'm like 50 pages in. I'm already learning about stuff that happened in like the 50s, and I'm already really intrigued by how the characters interact and view each other. So I think this is going to be a great read for me. The next book is Isabel Allende's The House of Spirits The House of the Spirits. So I think I'm going to like this one. I already like the story and idea, and also I just love supporting Latina queens. But the patriarch of this family, Esteban, is basically has like a bad temper, and he's only calmed down by his otherworldly, beautiful wife, Clara, and their daughter Blanca falls in love, and it's with a guy that Esteban deems unworthy for her, and he tries to get in the middle of it a lot. But both of them ending up together comes with his biggest pride and joy, which is his granddaughter Alba, who is a beautiful and ambitious girl who leads the family and their country into like a bright and more beautiful future. I've read reviews and stuff and just seen things about it that say it's actually a splendid book that's really poetic and heartfelt and really dramatic, but like it makes up for it. Like some books it's dramatic for no reason, but this one is dramatic for a good reason. This next book is The List by Yomi Adegoke, and I was really excited for this one when I read the summary, so I'll just read it for you guys. So we have Ola Olajide, who is like a journalist, like a really great journalist who people know on social media and online a lot, from like a feminist magazine, and she's set in like a month to marry the love of her life, Michael. But then one day this anonymous account posts a crowdsourced collection of names, this like list, that are posting allegations of what these like men usually have like done, and it's just posting allegations on social media. And usually Ola would be like the first one to be like, oh yeah, get these men fired, get these people fired, get them out of their jobs, but her fiance Michael's name is on that list. So I was intrigued to see where that would go. I was thinking maybe it'd be like about cancel culture and stuff, and how that your name on one list could ruin your life or something. But since it's from Ola's perspective, I think it's going to be more about how she deals with the fact that Michael actually did these allegations or whatever, or how she's going to deal with it in her personal life as well as in her social media presence, and how it's going to affect her. But I read a lot of reviews, and this does not have a good rating. When you have the apologist plot, you have characters that are based off like real people who went through these things. And on top of all that, it's not even written well. So I don't know. I've seen those things, but I kind of want to see what the fuss is about anyway, and come to my own conclusion. So I'm going to read it anyway, and see where that takes me. On to the 11 books that I bought. I'm not going to show Jazz by Toni Morrison because I know that I showed it in the video I took, but it's my mom's. I gave it to her. So she has it. We're going to start with Gina Chung's Sea Change. Sorry. Yeah, I love the cover of this book. I'm so upset that it tore. I'm so freaking upset. I was taking off that stupid Savers tag and it freaking tore this part of the cover out, and I was so pissed off. This, it's got this like trope of like girl in her 20s/30s who is trying to figure out her life but is failing miserably at it at the moment. This one is about Ro, our main character, who is in her 30s. She's just hit 30. She's estranged from her mother, and her boyfriend just left her for a mission to Mars. And her best friend is currently busy with her upcoming wedding, so Ro is kind of left by herself. All she has is her job at this mall aquarium. There's just one thing that she is happy about in her life, and that is just like her friendship with Dolores, which is a giant Pacific octopus. And it's also Rose's last remaining link to her father, who disappeared when she was a teenager. He was a marine biologist. So she was like, the only thing that she has in her life right now is Dolores, and even that disappears because Dolores is bought by an investor and is set to be put in a private aquarium. And Ro just can't really handle this, and she's like on the brink of like losing her mind, you know? So I'm really interested to see where that goes, and like how a lot of it says that she's like can either lose herself in like her reminiscence and like her memories, or she can finally come to terms with her childhood trauma. So I think that's gonna be a super cool read. Okay, we have Beloved by Toni Morrison. I've not read Toni Morrison. I'm trying to read Song of Solomon right now because I got it from my library. The one I really want to read is The Bluest Eye, but I can't find that anywhere, so I'm gonna have to buy it later on. But before I do that, I want to just check out and see if I actually like her writing style and enjoy how she writes. People say that it's like a American literature like masterpiece, like all the stuff that she writes is just like really it's really made for like people who read literature normally, I think, and I'm not one of those people. I really don't like, I have classics and stuff and I will try to read them, but it's not my favorite genre, you know? I prefer just like regular fiction or fantasy or sci-fi. It is during the era of slavery in the US, and our main character, Sethe, was born a slave, and she escaped to Ohio, but 18 years later, she's still really not free of it. She's still haunted by the ghost of her baby, who died nameless, and this tombstone is engraved with only the word beloved. So I really do want to see what Toni Morrison writes about. I'm expecting this is going to be like really heavy hitting, so I'm going to reserve I'm going to take my time with it. I'm going to do it in a time when I'm not reading other books. I think this one is going to be like a really hard hitting book, and I'm going to enjoy it because of that. So yeah, that's why I bought it. I also just want to see what all the fuss is about with Toni Morrison, because everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's so good, and I'm like, okay, I'll check it out for myself. Next one we have is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. This book is about a food writer, Dorothy Daniels, and she's like the best at what she does. She critiques food and stuff, but she can cook better than like all the chefs that she reviews. Like, she's just like the best in her craft. And she also is trying to find like a love or someone who can like keep up with her and her like desires, but she hasn't really found that, so she's kind of just like going from Manhattan to like other places in the world, just kind of traveling around for her job, and just kind of like embracing her single life. However, there is something about her that is kind of like odd, that makes her different from everyone else. Other than like her clear mastery of the culinary arts, she also has a hidden secret, and she has suppressed it for long enough and decides to just be out with it and just to embrace her superiority. And this book is just kind of about what happens when a woman embraces a certain part of herself, a certain hunger, if you will. I love when women just go psycho and do psycho stuff. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like this one. This is How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe by Charles Yu. This one is about Charles Yu, who's a time travel technician. He lives in Minor Universe 31, and when he's not taking client calls, like trying to save people from themselves, literally, so they're like visiting his mom or searching for his dad, who was the creator of the time machine and vanished, just like out of thin air. So locating his father could be found in the book titled the same as this one, How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe. He's just looking inside of that book for the information that could save his father and potentially save his life as well. This sounds really cool, and it's been compared to Douglas Adams. So I think it's going to be a funny but also really poignant read. This one is just a book about like climate activism I'm pretty interested in. I also just love the illustrations, but it's just a really cute little book. I love it, and I like what it says about. It's about climate activism as well as being like being in your local politics, I think, which is really important to me as well. And yeah, being like involved in your community. Yeah, I think that'll be a cool book to read. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. This is a novel by Mark Haddon. I keep seeing it at the Savers. I think I've seen it there like for a year now. Like, I always see like a new copy of it there every other time or so that I go to that book section, and I always look at it and I'm like, I want to read this so bad. So I finally picked it up this time. This one is about Christopher John Francis Boone, who knows all the countries of the world and their capitals and every prime number up to 7,057. This character low-key seems like they're autism coded, but I read reviews and stuff, and this author didn't do any research on that, and it's not meant to be a character with autism, although they share a lot of symptoms. So that was something interesting that I learned about it last night when I looked it up. But this one had a really great ratings as well. And it's about Christopher's quest to investigate the suspicious death of his neighbor's dog. And it's supposed to be a captivating and unusual novel. And I think I'm going to like it. I also like how it's organized. I like that it's giving Bluets in a way, where it has like the numbers. It's going different. Instead of it being chapters or anything, it's just like the numbers of certain things. This one, automatically when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's giving Daisy Jones and the Six, except it sounds so much cooler. I read Daisy Jones and the Six last summer, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I love the way it was written as well, in like an interview style, and that's how this one also is written. It's written in like the same kind of, I guess, formatting, but people have said that it's like takes Daisy Jones and the Six to the next level. I'll just read you the synopsis real quick. Opal is a fiercely independent young woman, and she is a black punk artist before her time. In like the 60s and 70s, sort of, she believes that she can be a star. So then a British singer-songwriter, Neville Charles, discovers her at a bar's amateur night, and he's like, hey, do you want to like perform with me and like join my record company or whatever? So they both make rock music together for a long time. And then she's like doing all this stuff with him, right? They're like this really cool rock duo. But then in the early 70s in New York City, she's starting to find her niche and be like part of the music scene there. A rival band also signed to her label has a Confederate flag at one of their concerts, and she just has like a huge violent protest to this, and it just has like a whole chain of events comes off of that. And and I think there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff that happens, including a lot of repercussions for what she's done, because obviously she's not only a woman, she's also a black woman in the 70s who would be dealing with this kind of backlash. And then decades later, as Opal considers a 2016 reunion with Neville, she she's interviewed by a music journalist, Sunny Shelton, who is trying to curate an oral history about her idols. So Sunny is just trying to like capture what happened during that time and during Opal and Neville's like entire career. And it's supposed to be really, really immersive and really, really politically active and stuff, and talking about the politics of the 70s, especially when it came to like music, like people in music speaking up for things, especially as a black woman being the main character in it. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm like a huge music lover. I am a musician, so I think this is going to be a great read. The next book we have is The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barbary. And this one automatically caught my attention because of the two main characters. So this book takes place in an elegant hotel particulier. I don't know, some kind of place where like people live, but it's also a hotel in the center of Paris. So it's like very fancy. One of our main characters, Renee, who is the building's concierge, is described as short, ugly, and plump. She is described as like kind of, I don't know, what you would expect a concierge to kind of be based on how she looks. The only love that she has is for her cat Leo, and she just loves television soap operas. But in secret, she's actually a ferocious autodidact who devours art and music and literature and philosophy and Japanese culture, and she like loves all these things, and she just like behind everyone's backs makes fun of all of the tenants in that building for not being as like smart as her. And I think that's really funny. Like she calls them her inferiors in every way except that of material wealth. So she seems really interesting. And then you have Paloma, who is a super smart 12-year-old, and she's the youngest daughter of this family that lives in the building, and she's talented, precocious, and startlingly lucid. Like she like knows a lot. She's really knowledgeable for her age. And she's just come to terms with life's futility so much that she has decided to end her own life on the day of her 13th birthday. Okay. Until that day comes, however, she's just gonna keep like fitting into the standard that she's supposed to be in. Same with Renee. They both kind of hide behind this disguise. So they both hide their true talents and their like finest qualities from the world until they meet a Japanese man named Ozu, who just moved into the building. They both like discover each other and discover themselves within that. So I think it's gonna be a cool read. I just like how the characters are described. The next book is Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Basterrica. And she's an Argentinian author. This was translated into English. It was really popular a couple of years ago. Yeah. And I kept seeing it in bookstores and like the Barnes and Noble and stuff, and would always really intrigued and like wanted to buy it and see what it was really about. But I ended up seeing it at the bookstore and being like, yes, total fine, like total score, because I've been wanting to read it for a long time, and I bought it without even needing the summary because I already knew what it was about. So the world basically, animals have been deemed inedible for human consumption because of a certain virus that went around. So livestock and cattle, like none of it can be eaten anymore. and humans decide to do like the craziest thing possible, which is just like legal cannibalism, and they make it so that humans are bred for consumption. So our main character works in a slaughterhouse where that happens, where he like slaughters and just prepares the meat, I guess, for consumers to feast on human flesh. So he just continues his work there and tries not to think about it too much, but he already seems at odds with it in the first couple pages. Like, he's like, I can't believe this is like legal cannibalism, like this is insane to me. And then our main character meets this girl, I forgot what her name is. It isn't listed on here, but he meets this girl who has been bred for consumption, right? And she's like in this cage or whatever. And it's just kind of this like crazy dystopian world, and just like how he tries to save her from the fate that she's been dealt. So I think I'm gonna like this book, and eventually I might even read the Spanish version if I like it enough, because I'm bilingual. Anyway, okay. The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz. So it's basically about, so our main character Oscar is a sweet, but he's disastrously overweight ghetto nerd, as described on the back. He's from New Jersey. He's a romantic, so he really wants to find love and become the next Dominican J.R.R. Tolkien. So he wants all these things, but he doesn't think he's ever gonna get them because of this fukul, this curse that has been like hovering over his family for generations now. And this fukul has been following them from the Dominican Republic to the US and back again. Like, it's just been really horrible in other lives apparently, and I want to see where that leads. Oscar Wilde. Yeah. Snow Falling on Cedars by David Gutterson. Ooh, this is a really pretty novel. I love how this looks. Oh wait, like this. Ooh. I'm just going to read you this because I cannot summarize well. San Pedro Island, north of Puget Sound, is a place so isolated that no one who lives there can afford to make enemies. Then in 1954, a local fisherman is found suspiciously drowned, and a Japanese-American named Kubio Miyamoto is charged with his murder. Like another guy who lives there. And during this ensuing trial, it becomes clear that what is at stake is more than one man's guilt. And during the course of his trial, there's more at stake than just his guilt. It's also like memories in San Pedro. So like the whole thing really takes place on San Pedro and has a lot to do with like Japanese American history. So you have like the memories of this love affair between a white boy and a Japanese girl, and this Japanese girl ended up becoming Kabuyo Miyamoto's wife, the guy who was charged with murder. And also to do with and San Pedro was also haunted by this memory of what happened to Japanese residents during World War II, which is when they had Japanese internment camps all over the US. It's supposed to be gripping, tragic, and densely atmospheric. And I had the feeling this would be atmospheric as heck, so I really wanted to get this book for like kind of fall, or like when it's like a foggy day, you know? It's cloudy at the moment, but like this is not really a summer read. This is gonna be like a fall or winter read. Is that all of them? That's all of them. I'm done. Okay. Anyway, that's all of the books that I bought recently. Oh! Anyway, that is my book haul. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day. Okay, bye-bye!